So you were one of the first people that I heard, and definitely the loudest voice, warning about what you called just inflation or the consequences of printing money. You
Yes.
came on my podcast back in 2021
Yeah.
and warned about it.
Paying for new governmental programs with an endless supply of printed money, then you will see runaway hyperinflation that could massively destabilize our economy.
So tell me, Pierre, how did you predict that that was going to happen, and walk us through what exactly did happen with the printing of money?
Well, it's a very simple mathematical problem that we've known about for millennia, and it's the correlation between the growth in the money supply as a share of GDP and the cost of things. And if you look at Milton Friedman's amazing tomb, it's like a big brick of the monetary history of the United States. He puts in graphs of countries around the world, and he can show like a near perfect correlation between the growth in the money supply per unit of economic output and the inflation rate. And so what happens is you have the same number of goods and services, but more money chasing those goods and services, you get inflation. So what I saw happening in 2020, 2021, 2022 was that the central bank was buying government debt and effectively creating additional cash. And the result was that our money supply grew by about $500 billion, or about 30%, during which time the real output of our economy actually declined. So you had a lot more money buying a lot less goods. And it stood to reason that that was going to result in inflation. All the central bankers, including Mark Carney, said, oh no, that's just simple thinking. Money printing doesn't cause inflation. Well, of course it did. And then we spent the last 2 years, our middle working class people spent the last 2 years suffering with this affliction. So the inflation is actually just the symptom. The real disease is overspending. Governments don't print money for fun. They print it so they can spend it. It's the sneakiest way to raise taxes without actually holding a vote. It'd be like, raising the GST 3 or 4 points. You'd get thrown out of office for that. But if you just tell the central bank to do a bunch of backroom hocus pocus that no one can understand, call it quantitative easing, you can sneak it under the radar. And that's what they did. And so what I'm saying is stop the spending that's driving the money printing. You need to cut bureaucracy, cut the consultants, cut foreign aid, cut back on corporate welfare, these checks we give corporations when they should be raising their own money through free enterprise. And then you don't have to print money, and you can protect the purchasing power of your dollar.